What's going on, everyone? My name is Ala Alarashi, and in this video, we're taking a look at 3 questions that the Raptors face heading into the 2023-2024 season. And now, before we start, we just have to address a few things here that might be of an issue later on in the season, which is OG Anunoby's contract, and he has a player option at the end of this season, and he might opt out of it if we don't look to trade him because he's probably looking for more money, and that's something that we have to be concerned about because we also have Pascal Siakam, who will be an unrestricted free agent next season, and we haven't given him the extension that he needs yet. And so we won't be able to pay both of them. So it seems like we might have to address that issue later on, but we can do that when the trade deadline comes about and we can talk about trades and player movement and all that kind of stuff. The first question the Raptors face is, who are the starters for the team? Now, personally, I think there are 6 potential starters in terms of which players are on the court at the same time. It can be Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl, and then the last position is either between Dennis Schroeder or Gary Trent Jr. And the reason why I say that is they're both guards, and we can't have both of them at the same time because those other guys will probably want their starting positions that they had last season. And to me, with Darko's offense, I feel like Dennis Schroeder fits best to start. And I actually like Gary Trent Jr. coming off the bench because that gives us the spark we need. And he doesn't have to worry about not shooting the ball or having to distribute the ball as much because at that point, maybe they're substituting him in for either OG Anunoby or Scottie Barnes, depending on the lineups. Obviously, it could change, but I actually like Dennis Schroeder starting. It gives us some consistency. And then also just his play, his style of play. He's more of a pure point guard, obviously. And like I said, Gary Trent Jr. gives us that spark as a 6th man off the bench. The second question the Raptors face is, what happens when our offense starts to get stagnant? And the reason why I say this is because we all saw last season how it was just a matter of who's going to have the isolation plays at the end of the shot clock between Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, and who's going to take most of the shots. And actually, Siakam led the team in usage percentage, but also in isolation plays. So that was a bit of a concern last season. And now, okay, we have Darko's new offense called the 0.5 second offense, which is essentially trying to make a decision within less of a second of getting the ball, either shooting the ball, making the right play, passing it, doing something about that, right? And so that's great. But realistically, in a game, if that starts to get stagnant in the half-court offense, then where do we turn to? Do we just go back to the isolation plays, the Siakam take control of that, and whoever else is on the court at the time? Do we get Scottie Barnes to isolate, right? And so that might be of an issue, and that's going to be interesting to watch, especially because the offense right now, the way it's going to run with under Darko, is trying to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible and running through plays as much as possible. So let's see what happens with that. The third question the Raptors face heading into the 2023-2024 season is, how will the defense look like under new coach Darko Rajakovic? So obviously last season we had 3 of the top 8 or 10 players in steals per game. We had actually OG Anunoby at first, and then VanVleet was third, and then Gary Trent Jr. was 7th. So that was great. We had a lot of good defensive players, and they were stepped up to the plate when we needed them. And now with VanVleet gone, we still have 2 of them there. Our defensive rating last season, we were ranked 11th amongst the rest of the league, which is great. But because there is a concern in terms of how the offense will run, it could actually lead to more turnovers because of that 0.5 second offense, like I mentioned, right? There could be decisions where there are turnovers, deflections, and players not paying attention to what's going on, maybe messing up the play. And so that could go the other direction, and the team is getting easy buckets in terms of fast break points. And that was actually one of our weaknesses last season as well. So I'm kind of concerned about how the defense would look like. And actually, Jakob Poeltl mentioned in terms of how the defense is going so far in the preseason and in practices, he calls it a happy medium, meaning that essentially, to me, that means that they're not really paying attention too much to it. They're just hoping that the players that they already have are predispositioned to playing great defense, and they do have great defenders, but they have to lock in at times. And I think that might be a concern going into the season. And so with that being said, those are the three questions we have. Who will be the Toronto Raptors starters? What happens when the Raptors offense gets stagnant? And then how does the defense look like? And then obviously we have other questions in terms of player movement. And again, like I said at the beginning of this video, we can address that later on when the time comes. Let me know what you guys think the three questions that the Raptors should be facing going into the season. And what are you excited most for heading into the new year? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And let me know what the Raptors are headed towards this season.